Thank you for joining me here today on The Ripple Effect with Ray, where I talk to health and wellness founders and dive into their stories. I have Jacqueline here with me today, the founder of Hackett Health, Jackie for short. Looking forward to diving into today's conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Rachel.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about, your journey as a dietitian. Why did you choose to start your own company?
Yeah, I'll give you the shorter end because we'd be here all day. But I mean, my own health journey is what led me to become a dietitian in the first place. I think like most dietitians, I had gut health issues, severe anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I was a former athlete. I developed a disordered eating in college, and that over time and body image issues, all the things. So essentially, my ideal client today is who I was in college, is kind of how I explain it. But I started out in clinical as they were kind of taught and shown the path of you have clinical community or, outpatient community service working in schools. We aren't really taught that you can be an entrepreneur. Private practice was always an option, but it seemed like such a hurdle to get through, and like we didn't have classes on how to create a business plan and go about doing that. So I'm very grateful for my husband who's an entrepreneur and kind of showed me that path that you can own your own business and do whatever the heck you want within reason, of course, still evidence based and still helping my clients get results. But yeah, after years of being in clinical and then working in outpatient, there were just kind of constraints of our healthcare system, constraints of working for corporate, and not truly being able to get to the root cause of why these people were so sick, because I had to work within the structure of, the organization I was at. So slowly over many, many years, I would, go to full-time job, see my clients in the evening, and just a little over 3 years ago, I left corporate to just go all in my private practice, and now I'm here.
That's amazing. Well, congrats on 3 years, and that's a huge milestone. Especially, I think they talk about 3 years kind of being that sweet spot of being a business owner. And so, what would you say has been one of the things that really surprised you, or what has been maybe a challenge that you maybe didn't expect?
Oh gosh, so many things. I think the first one that comes to mind just right now is how isolating it can be being a business owner. Right. I love people, and I don't get me wrong, I get to talk to people all day, and I have a team of dietitians now, 6 dietitians that I work with, so I get to communicate with them, and we have meetings, and I'm talking to clients all day long or doing discovery calls, but no one's telling me or directing me what to do. And I'm my own boss, which is awesome on one end, and on the other end is like very scary. And so there was a lot of, imposter syndrome, a lot of limiting beliefs and fear. And I think that was the biggest one for me. So through that is kind of finding other entrepreneur organizations and groups, and even just connecting with other dietitians that are private practice owners and being like, how are you doing? Okay, cool. You're going through it just like me. And I think at the end of the day, it's just reminding yourself like we're all going through it. No one really knows what they're doing until you get there. And yeah, I think that was the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, that's great that what you were able to kind of realize early on that it can be a pretty isolating and lonely journey. And it's nice now to know that, hey, like you have a team of people. But yeah, I think it's not talked about enough. It can feel very isolating at times. I was just talking to somebody the other day about I was driving home from picking my son up from daycare, and I just saw the like school buses pulling out of the parking lot, and I was like, wow, that seems nice. Like, all you do is you get in your school bus, you drive kids, and you drop them off, and then that's it. You park it wherever you need to, and that's your day. But the life of a business owner, you don't quite get to turn it off, right? And so leading me to my next question for you is, how do you kind of manage some of those, like kind of some of the balance that it requires to be an entrepreneur, with to be a dietitian as well. I think a lot of times when I talk to people in the health and wellness space, we're the ones that a lot of times need the healing, the help,
Yeah.
the balance of making sure we're eating, right? So how do you do that for yourself?
Yeah, how do we practice what we preach, right?
Right.
I've caught myself several times being like, "Oh man, I listened to my advice, and what do you know? I feel better." I've actually been thinking about that more recently of I'm a human first, right? I'm a person first, I'm a practitioner second, and my life and business is super integrated. Even my Instagram, I don't have a separate business and personal Instagram because I show up in the way I try to be authentic, and I show that I go out and I party and I have fun and I see friends and family, and I make time for all of that, even though I don't even know, I actually don't count how many hours I work a week. I unfortunately, for better or worse, work like 7 days a week, even if that's just sending an email for an hour on a Sunday. But I get to choose to do that, right? And that's the freedom that we get. But to your question, it is I can find myself wanting to work until 8, 9 p.m. some nights, and there are times when it doesn't feel like work because I love what I do and I get to show up. And there are times when there's things you don't want to do and you have to do until you can hire someone to do that work for you. But I think it is important to every single thing that I tell my client that I'm doing myself so that I can show up and have my energy and have a real smile on my face and be excited about the work that I'm doing. I'm still very much in that place where I feel that wholeheartedly, so it's a good place to be.
That's a great place to be. And I think you bring up a really valid point of just loving what you do. And even if you love what you do, you still sometimes need to like take a step back and be like, okay, wait, like, am I choosing this? Am I doing this out of obligation? Just kind of asking those questions. What would you say has been working really well for you in business? What would you say has been a little bit more frustrating?
Yeah, I just hired a new business coach, which for the first time in 6 years, I've always had male business coaches. That was a big reflection point for myself as well, that I'm like, wow, why have I always nothing against the male business coaches, but I'm like, I mainly work with women. I'm trying to be more of my feminine and just kind of why. So that's been really exciting to have a female person leading me, and that's just been really exciting, and it's only been about a month, but I've already seen awesome, amazing, incredible things, so I'm super excited about what's to come. So that's definitely the positive. Challenging aspect, I think with AI, and I was just at FNC, the National Nutrition Conference. There were a couple talks around just this changing landscape, and we're not showing up as well. You and I were just talking about SEO. We're not showing up as well in Google searches, and most people are just reading the AI. Like we're not in ChatGPT, and or can someone just go to ChatGPT and get the answers they need and not need a dietitian? And I definitely don't think that that's the case because we do so much more than we don't just write meal plans, right? But it's just having to shift and adapt, and I use AI every single day in what I do, but I think it's continuing to adapt and learn and grow and figuring out how to integrate with it. So just a new space, new horizon, and trying to take it as it comes.
Absolutely. That's kind of what I was interested in learning more about too, as far as like, I think it's really important to adapt and learn, like, and stay with the times, right? Like, AI is not going anywhere. So how do we actually use it as a tool and not a crutch or something that we are constantly like relying on for the answers, right? We still have to use our human self to bring that component to the business. And how would you say that it's been shifting your industry in particular?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot just in my own practice, but in speaking to some of the other dietitians of there are some dietitians that don't do any marketing, and their SEO, their website is so well optimized, and a couple of people I was speaking with, like 50% of their traffic, or their traffic has dropped by 50% since the emergence of AI. So that's pretty wild. But on the other side, I also see the positives of how it's helping people. You can post more content, you can edit things faster. But I have, like, I even use it sometimes with my clients on a call. I'm like, all right, you want a meal plan? Which, we as dietitians, we joke all the time, we don't create meal plans, but I get it. Clients want it. So I share my screen. I'm like, all right, ChatGPT is going to make you your meal plan right now. Let's customize it to you. Let's go through it. Here you go. Let me know if you follow it or not. But like, we built it together, and it's at least a little bit more interactive and I think fun. And then it's super customized to what, I don't want there to be salmon, or I want it to be higher protein, high fiber. So I think it's just how we view it and how we're approaching it. But on the other side of, like, is it going to replace us? I think as long as we are utilizing it to our advantage, those are the people that are going to be the most successful. But it's merging of the two, right? No AI can ever have the experiences that I had going through the gut health issues and the body image struggles. Even if you prompted a story, it doesn't have those emotions. And I can relate much more to any human than any AI ever can. And I think that's where we have the lead, or the level up.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Like it's utilizing it to save you time, save you money, but
Yep.
not necessarily like it's never going to replace that human element, that human touch. We just have to utilize it to our advantage, right? And so when it comes to you and your practice, where would you say you hope to be in the next 6, 12 months, couple years from now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I usually look so far ahead, but I feel like I'm just very much in the now, like the day to day. But looking ahead, I mean, so I just hired that new coach, but the hope is, like, this is just the beginning of Hackett Health. Even though it's been, 3 years on my own, I already have a team of 6 incredible dietitians. So I don't know if that means the team grows or just client, attention grows. In myself, beyond the practice, I've been doing more in-person speaking events, which has been really fun, like nutrition tabling events with all sorts of different demographics. I have one upcoming next Saturday for like male youth sports nutrition. So I think looking at the grander scale, how can I reach more people is the ultimate goal, whether that's 6 months, 12 months, a couple of years from now. But I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I see the path, and I'm like ready to start working towards it.
Yeah, well, I think that's so beautiful too. We always ask ourselves the question, what do we want to be when we grow up, right?
Yeah.
And it's ever evolving. And it sounds to me like where you are right now, it's the growth trajectory is there. Like it's not like you're trying to figure out like, oh, am I going to pivot in like a completely different direction? Am I going to start pursuing accounting, right? No, you're like, I'm going to make people healthy. I want to help people figure out, you know, where are they falling short with their health and how can we solve some of those gut health issues? How can we solve some of those body image issues? Like it sounds to me like you are where you like were hoping to maybe there was like a version of you 2 years ago that
Yeah.
was looking at, oh my gosh, like who is that Jackie? But then Jackie, if she were to go back in time, you're like, hey, things are gonna work out. Things are going great, right? And so I think we always kind of remember like that version of us, like this present moment is like where we were hoping to be, right? And so I love that you've kind of what you've shared and anything that you'd like to add on top of that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I appreciate that reminder, because I think, I mean, I do my daily morning gratitude and affirmations, and I journal like every single day. I'm regimented with it. But in the grander scheme of things, as you're saying, I think you're encouraging me. I'm like, I want to sit down actually, and I like to do end of year goals, and my husband and I are going to go away for the weekend to plan 2026. I think I really do want to reflect on that, of like, yeah, looking back even at my yearly goals, this is where I wanted to be 2 years ago. And like, I'm here, I'm doing it. So yeah, having gratitude for that, even though I know I'm saying like there's so much more I want to achieve, it's the journey, it's the process. I mean, I tell my dietitians all the time, like enjoy the process because this is it. Like this is the growth. We're so focused on the end goal of what even is that. And by the time we get there, we're like, oh, my whole life just flashed before my eyes. So yeah, thank you for that reminder, even to myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, for those people listening to our show today, how can people work with you? How can people find you?
Yeah, easiest Instagram, of course, Hackett Health, two T's, or our website is hackett.health. There's no .com at the end, just hackett.health.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today on the Ripple Effect with Ray. It's been such a honor, pleasure to get to sit down with you and chat all things health, why, and your story. Thank you again.
Thanks, Rachel.